Hey guys, I hope y'all are having a great day and welcome back. So we're doing another foundation review today. This is the new KVD Good Apple Full Coverage Transfer Proof Vegan Serum Foundation. That is like a mouthful. So if you remember the Good Apple Balm Foundation that came out, I want to say a couple years ago, this formula was better suited for like normal to dry skin. Now I have oily skin and I actually love the way that the Balm Foundation wore on me, but this one is more for like normal to dry skin. And this new serum foundation is supposed to be better suited for combo to oily skin. So I'm really curious to see if this one wears any better on me than the Balm Foundation. Okay, so this is a lightweight full coverage serum foundation that blends and blends with skin for a natural seamless finish and transfer proof wear. It's supposed to be extremely long wearing. It has a full coverage and, like I just said, a natural finish. Okay, so let's jump right into it. We're going to do the usual today. We're going to start off with a swatch. And I'm going to give you guys my first impression on it, and then we'll shoot for an 8-hour wear test, and I will let y'all know if you have oily skin if I think y'all should try this out for yourself. So let's jump right into it. Okay, I'm just shaking it up really well because this is my first time using it. So let's start off with a swatch. Oh, let me show y'all the packaging one more time just in case you're interested. Typical KVD packaging, and it feels pretty like weighted. All right, so this is Tan 068. It's the same shade that I got in the Balm Foundation. So they come in the same shades, and I don't think I said that, but it's available in 40 shades, the same shades in the Balm Foundation. So this is 068, and it retails for $42 because I don't think I said that either. So I do know from wearing the Balm Foundation that this one was pulling kind of warm on me, but it was like the best shade match out of the range. So before I wipe off this swatch, I'm just going to take a swatch of the Balm Foundation too, just so that we can compare, because I'm assuming most people are going to stick with their same shade. So this is Tan 068 in the Balm Foundation, Tan 068 in the Serum Foundation, and I think for the most part they do look the same, but this Serum Foundation to me looks a little warmer actually. Let me rub this in a little bit. 068 is definitely warmer. They're different, but both of these are 068. There's like a big jump from like Tan 066 to Tan 068. I felt like the jump was pretty big. I didn't really pay attention to that, like if there was a big jump in other like shade ranges, because I was paying attention to my own shade range, but there really could be like a couple shades like in between that. So I'm going to be applying with my Morphe E63 brush. This is the one that I always use for liquid foundations. So I'm going to start off with a half a pump on each side, and then we'll go in and build up just to see, you know, if it builds up pretty nicely. So we're supposed to get a full coverage. So let's see how much coverage this much foundation gives us. It does look very pigmented. It is pretty warm, but I'll be able to, you know, work this out. It's blending out really nicely. It looks like it's going to give us like a natural, like flawless type of finish. And I see like a little bit of stuff still peeking through like right up in here. I just zoomed y'all in just a little bit more. So like right up in here, I do still see just a little bit of stuff peeking through. So that was only a little bit of product. That was like a half a pump. But it looks like it's going to be buildable to full coverage. But it looks really nice, like it blended out very well. Whenever you use KVD foundations, in my experience, you have to go in with a little bit and build up, but I feel like you should do that with all complexion products. But this one it's blending out really nicely. But remember, I only started out with kind of like, you know, a little bit of product. So that looks pretty nice so far. Let's do the other side, and then we'll go back and put another half a pump over here, and we'll compare to see if we can get full coverage on this side. So I always start blending on my cheeks because I always want the most coverage there. But of course, you can start, you know, wherever you want the most coverage, and then put the residual everywhere else. I also forgot to mention, I always forget this, but a lot of y'all already know, but just in case you're new here, I didn't put any type of primer on. I only use skincare when I'm testing foundations for the first time, I never test them out with primers. I like to test out the foundation just on its own, just to see how it's going to operate by itself. Okay, so this is, we're going to say, one layer of the foundation. So I really like it. I think it looks nice and smooth. Is this supposed to be like blurring or like pore filling or something? Because I feel like it is. Like this side of the face, the foundation has had a couple of minutes to kind of like sink in. And I feel like right on the sides of my nose, it looks like really smooth. I feel like I haven't seen my face look this smooth in quite some time, like compared to some of the other more recent foundations that I've tested out. It does say a natural seamless finish. I thought I read somewhere, that might have been maybe on Instagram, that this is supposed to be like a blurring type of foundation, but that's definitely like the vibe that I'm getting. It looks like a very seamless, flawless, natural look. So far, I really like the way that this looks, but we're gonna go back onto this side with another half a pump to see how well the foundation builds up on itself. I feel like I need just a little tiny bit more. I don't think that that was quite like a half a pump. Okay, so this extra product is definitely building up to what I would consider a full coverage, and it's blending on top of the first layer very, very nicely. I don't know, this, like before I started testing this, like before today, my favorite foundation over the past few weeks has been the Makeup by Mario foundation. So far, first impression, I've only had this on for a few minutes. I mean, I don't know now which one I like better between those two, because this one is really, really nice. This one does really look like pretty flawless on the skin. It's really nice. So over here we have a full pump versus over here we have a half a pump, and it looks really pretty. I really like this, y'all, so far. It is supposed to control shine too. I think Makeup by Mario did okay with that. So I'm curious to see how long I can go with this foundation before I have to, you know, blot and repowder. Alright, I cannot wait to put some under eye concealer on. I'm filming kind of early in the morning, and I just feel like my under eyes look like it's early in the morning. Okay, so this is what it looks like all blended out. And I think it looks really pretty. Okay, so I got a little distracted because my phone rang, so I don't remember the last thing that I said. But this is what it looks like all blended out. So we have one pump on both sides of the face, and I really, really like the way that this looks. I wouldn't say that this is like a filtered look. Like, it looks very natural, but it does also look very like poured smoothing. Like, I feel like my face just looks really flawless and natural right now. It looks really pretty. So I'm gonna put my concealer on. I'll come back and show you guys how I'm gonna set the foundation, and then we'll move on to the wear test. Okay, so one more look at the foundation before I go in and set it with powder. So I just have powder on my immediate under eye area. So even after the foundation has been sitting for, it's been about 5 minutes, it's drying down just a little bit, but it's not really like, it doesn't look dry, if that makes sense. So it still looks like nice, healthy, natural, hydrated. It still looks really good. Like, I feel like I'm getting like that natural glow, but it's, you know, settling into the skin very nicely. So I'm gonna take my Kosas powder. A lot of people ask me about this, but this is the powder that I always use to set foundations with wear tests, because it does a good job at setting the foundation, but it doesn't alter the finish of the foundation too much. So any powder is going to slightly mattify a liquid foundation, but this one doesn't have like a matte finish per se. So that's why I always use this particular powder, and I like to stay consistent with like all of the products that I'm using when I'm testing out a foundation. So let's do a side-by-side comparison. So I'm just going to set like around the under eye, and hopefully it'll still look nice and natural, and hopefully I'll still have a little bit of like a natural glow peeking through the setting powder. Okay, so like I said, the powder is going to, you know, slightly mattify, but to me it still looks pretty nice. I can't get over like how the foundation looks like right up in here. It just looks so smooth. Like, it looks really pretty. Let me know if y'all think I'm being extra, but to me the foundation looks really, really nice. All right, let me go in and set the other side. Oh, I just dug my finger all in my powder. Ugh. Okay, I cannot wait to get started with the wear test today, so I'm going to hurry up and finish the rest of my makeup off camera. I'll show you guys my look for today, and then we'll get started with the wear test. Okay, so I know I just said this like a few weeks ago with Makeup by Mario, but I feel like I might have a new favorite foundation. Like, I really love the way that this foundation looks on me. Like, I think it looks so just like natural and just like flawless. So that's basically my first impression. I do think this is a buildable to full coverage. Now it does say full coverage. I think it's more like buildable to full, but I do think that it gives like a nice natural flawless look. It is very hydrating, even though this is supposed to be a formula that's more suited for combo to oily skin. So normally when we think hydrating, we might think more for like dry skin. I feel like this is a hydrating formula for oily skin, but so far I really like it. So let's jump right into our wear test because I can't wait to see how this wears during the day. So it's a little after 8 o'clock in the morning, so I'll most likely do like a midway check-in. We're shooting for 8 hours, and then at the end of the wear test I will give y'all my final thoughts. Okay, so it is exactly 12 o'clock, so we're about 4 hours in. So this is the midway check-in. So this is what we're looking like. I'm definitely getting shiny in the T-zone area. I think you can make it out on the forehead and on the nose. I always get shiny on the nose first, so that happens with like every foundation that I wear, but pretty much my entire T-zone is starting to get shiny. So I think that the level of shine that I have is like okay, like it's on par with other foundations that I've worn, so it's nothing like crazy. I will say though, I was expecting a little bit more shine control because that is one of the claims of the foundation. One of the main ingredients is supposed to help with shine, but I don't think that the face looks bad at all. So I'm gonna freshen up at this point. I'm gonna take a clean piece of tissue and I'm gonna blot in the T-zone area and then put on a little bit more powder. And although I've never had this happen before that I can recall, when I do this step, I always like to see how intact the makeup still looks when I blot off the excess oil. I want to make sure that the makeup still looks like that it was just like freshly applied. So that's what it looks like after taking away some of the oil. And then I'm going back into my Kosas powder and I'm going to put just a light veil of it just in the areas where I blotted. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna put on. I usually don't put on quite as much powder like midday as I do in the morning. So that's what it looks like. Actually, let me just hit the chin area just a little bit. So this is what it looks like after blotting off the excess oil, and I think it looks good. I think it looks like I just applied it this morning, so I think we're good with that. So it's gonna be another like 4 hours that I'm gonna continue the wear test, and then I'll come back and I'll give y'all my final thoughts. But I think so far so good. Like I said, I was expecting a little bit more shine control, but I am still really liking the foundation. So I'll see y'all in a few hours. Okay guys, I am back and it's exactly 5 o'clock. So we did about 9 hours for today. So this is what the makeup looks like after having it on all day. And remember, I did do a midway check-in. I blotted and repowdered at about 12 o'clock today. So this is what we are looking like. So I do have some pros and really just one con to go over with this foundation. I think overall, I would say if you have oily skin, I think that this one is worth trying out. I'm not as excited about it now as I was when I initially applied it, but I do still think it is a nice foundation. I did mention earlier that I couldn't tell on initial application which one I prefer between KVD and Makeup by Mario. Makeup by Mario definitely wears better than this one, but like I said, I do think this one is a nice foundation. So let me talk about really the only con that I have with the makeup first. So it does claim to be an extremely long wearing foundation for combo to oily skin. I don't agree with that at all. Now remember, I don't have on primer because I'm testing out how the foundation performs on its own. I think for something to say that it's long wearing, I shouldn't be this shiny this fast. So when I did the midway check-in, I was like 4 hours in, and I thought that I was, you know, a little shiny, nothing too crazy, but I felt like I was more shiny than I wanted to be. I blotted, repowdered, and now we're back to like being just as shiny as I was before. And it's 5 o'clock now, but my face has been looking like this for really like the past like couple of hours. So I think that it should have, the oils and the shine should have been held at bay a little bit longer, a lot longer actually, for this to be considered an extremely long wearing foundation. Now usually I've been wearing the Danessa Myricks Balm Powder underneath my liquid foundations. I'm pretty sure the foundation would perform better with something like this, but like I said, I'm testing it out, you know, on its own, because the claim is the foundation itself is extremely long wearing. So like I said, I don't agree with that, but that's really my only con with this foundation. Everything else I really like about it. Like, I love the way that it looked when I initially applied it. I like the way that it blends out. You can definitely build it up to a full coverage, and it is very lightweight because it's so pigmented, so you don't need a whole lot of product to get it up to a full coverage, so it really doesn't feel like anything on the face. So really the only con that I have is that it doesn't help prevent shine as long as I was expecting it to, but I don't think that I'm like excessively shiny either. Like, I think it looks okay, and just like you saw in the check-in, when you blot and repowder, it just looks like new, but you will have to refresh it, you know, after only a few hours of wear. So I would say overall, if you're interested in this and you have oily skin, definitely check it out. However, if you already have Makeup by Mario, I definitely would recommend Makeup by Mario over this, but I do think this one is a nice foundation, so I hope that's helpful. So if the video was helpful for you today, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel before you head out, and I will see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.